Hey y'all, this is Erin,
And this is Cody.
and we're Honey Mustard, and you're listening to the Word on the Street podcast.
Hey, what's up, my people? This is the Zim, and this is Word on the Street. This is where we discover and celebrate and document the culture and the stories of the Seattle Northwest music community. Thanks a lot for joining once again. It's good to have you back. I'm so happy you're here with me today. And this is version 147. We're up to 147. We got Quiet on the podcast today, the band Quiet from Seattle. So we'll get to them in a moment. And as you know, and if you don't know, I like to do an intro. That kind of rhymed. But anyways, and the intro is what I do in these intros is I try desperately not to smack my lips. But other than that, I talk to you about stuff. And one of the things that what I've been doing lately is I give you kind of a little update on the state of the podcast. And then I've been rolling into this kind of ideas that I believe any musician, anybody that's serious about their music career needs to consider when they're doing this thing, when they want to take their music to the next level, and they're like, what do I need to do? And I'm up to number 4, my fourth one of this kind of, I just started it a while ago, and I'll tell you my next one. But first, let me do a little state of the podcast. So I've narrowed down, if you've been following along, I've narrowed down my audio issues and with recording the podcast. And I bought a new interface, so that's A-okay, awesome, doing a great job. And I've learned that it was something in my microphone that I use most, the connection between my microphone, the cable, and the audio interface. So like the connection between the microphone and the cable is funky. And this podcast, you'll hear my voice kind of fluctuate a lot. I did a bunch of editing to try to bring in my voice better, but it still kind of dips down, and I'm not gonna go into every single word I said and try to level it all out. So, but I think it'll be good enough. You'll hear it all. You're probably listening to this in headphones anyway, so it'll be good. So if it's not, you can be like, yeah, that sucked, Zim. You need to do better. And I'd love to hear that from you. I'd love to hear any feedback you have. Be sure to go to facebook.com/Word on the Street podcast. I post this podcast on Facebook, and that's where you should interact with it. You should go there and write in the comments like, hey, this was great, or hey, this sucked, and tell me why. Either way, I'd love to hear it. Interaction where it's at, where it's all about. So thanks a lot for doing that. That would be rad of you. So so that's kind of the state of the podcast so the next thing I need to do is I'm going to buy a new mic. I tried all my mics and they all seem to do the same thing. So I don't know. All my mics are getting kind of old, so I'm going to try to buy a round of new mics. I'm planning to go to LA soon at the end of August to record. At least I have 3 scheduled so far. So, and they're all Seattle musicians that are living in LA now. So it'll be an interesting story to continue this story of what it means to be a Seattle Northwest musician, culture of the scene, all that stuff, and transplanting and looking at it from the outside in, inside out, and all that good stuff. So I'm excited for it. Hope you are too. So let's get to my next number 4, tip number 4. So let me just recap real quick recap. First thing I said was audio. You have to have audio you believe in with all your soul, like you'll bleed over it. So audio is the first thing. Second thing I mentioned, so audio is like the first thing and the only thing that has a real priority. Audio is number 1 priority. And you can go back to version 144, I believe it was, that I talked about that. You can go back, listen to the intro on that one if you want to hear my thoughts on why and all that kind of stuff. So that's number 1. Number 2 thing I said was you need to think about everything else from that point on in an entrepreneurial kind of mindset. Entrepreneurial mindset over being a musician's mindset. You need to figure out how to be an entrepreneur, learn how to hustle, basically. So that's number 2. You can go back to the episode where I talked about that. Last week I talked about, what did I talk about? Oh, I lost it. What did I talk about? Going on tour is what I talked about, was super, super important. And it's, like I said, everything from here on out isn't really in an order. It's just things you really, really, really need to consider. And touring is right there on the top of that list, like making sure that you get out of the city and get out there in the world and just make it happen. So number 4 is, okay, so you have your audio, you're thinking about going on tour, you're trying to make it all happen. So we all know online presence nowadays is majorly important. So I want to just break down as best I can my thoughts on where you should need to have online presence, where you should be devoting your energy. Number one, I believe the number one most important place you should be putting your energy is Facebook. You should have a Facebook page that you're actively using in this. Okay, so online presence opens up a whole Pandora's box of ideas, because it's not just good enough to have something. You need to be active on it. And what does it mean to be active on it? So Facebook is, without a doubt, the number one best place to get the word out about your music if you want to take out the middleman of a publicist. If you do not want to work with a publicist and put your music out that way, Facebook is the best way to do it. And how it's the best way to do it is basically you can pay to target to the audience you want to have targeted. You can get your music in front of the people that you most want your music in front of. And it means paying, like I said. And that's where the Pandora's box opens up. So, because a lot of us balk at Facebook. A lot of us say, oh, Facebook is no organic reach anywhere. Wah, wah, cry. I mean, boo, hoo, hoo. And you know what? There's always been a paywall. And this is a whole nother topic. The paywall idea is a whole nother thing. But no matter what you're trying to do with your music, there's always going to be a paywall. It's just where it happens to be. It's an ever shifting thing, and where your importance is, what you personally want out of your music. Eventually, you're going to hit a paywall. Whether it's finding a rehearsal space you need to put your money into, whether it's hiring a publicist, whether it's recording your music, whether it's, there's so many things with advertising your music, buying instruments. There's just why, it's like, why do you not cry about the fact that a music store wants you to pay for new strings, but you will cry about the fact that an online service that's the best in the world wants you to pay them to get your music out in front of your audience? It just doesn't make sense to me why people balk at it. It's totally, I just don't get it. I mean, so understand that Facebook is the number one best place to devote energy. Paid promoted posts. If you are serious about your craft, you need to just pay for it. You need to confront that paywall and say, hey, I want my music to be exposed to more people. Where do I want to invest that money? You could, and if you want to do it yourself, Facebook is the number one best place to do it. So I'll leave it at that. We can go into further details about Facebook. If you want, just go to facebook.com/Word on the Street podcast. Let's talk about it through the comments on the post of this podcast. I'd love to hear it. The second most important place you need to have a presence online is YouTube. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. All your music, every single one of your songs needs to be on YouTube, as not only as just a picture or a slideshow and your song, but also a legit music videos, and then also other interactions, recordings, behind the scenes stuff about your music, about your band, about what you're building. You should be curating regularly on YouTube. Okay, so those are the two most important things. A lot of questions about, okay, so that's not necessarily, neither one of those is like an audio only service. The two best, in my opinion, best audio only services are SoundCloud and Bandcamp. I'm a firm believer in Bandcamp. And then SoundCloud's great too. It's not quite as great, I don't think, as Bandcamp. They both cater to different audiences a little bit, so you have to be kind of aware of your audience. I think SoundCloud kind of caters to more the urban, hip-hop, electronic, kind of pop kind of side of things. Bandcamp caters to more of the rock, indie rock, underground, Americana, just kind of more acoustic, kind of more side of things. It feels to me, I could be wrong, but that's what it feels like to me whenever I see my peer groups talking about where they're putting their music. The electronic, hip-hop kind of producer guys that are in that world tend to talk about SoundCloud more, and the rockers, indie rockers, country, all the acoustic instruments, organic, more sounding stuff tend to talk about Bandcamp. So those are the two audiences. I say have it on both. I mean, the bottom line is have it on everything, really. But if you're looking at it in a hierarchy, those are kind of the hierarchy you want, because you want Facebook and YouTube are the priority. But then you want to link up. Okay, so somebody likes your song on YouTube or whatever. Where can they buy it? Where can they find it? Where can they download it? Bandcamp and SoundCloud are those places you want to direct them to. And so on the other side of that coin, a lot of us see iTunes as a popular place to put their music. Spotify is getting more popular and stuff. However, both those outlets, you do not want those to be your only outlets. Sure, put it on there. Great, go for it. Do your thing. However, you realize you're putting friction between your audience and your music if you put them on Bandcamp and Spotify, because both of them, iTunes is obvious. You have to pay to get it, and then and they only give you a really short sample size snippet of your song. Anybody that thinks only giving anybody a small section of your song is wrong. You need to give your audience the ability to play your entire song. It's just flat out important to do. There was a trend a while back. I don't know if people still do it now, but even on places like when MySpace was happening and things like that, they would only put a sample of their song on the MySpace music player, and maybe some people still do it on SoundCloud, and I don't think you do it on Bandcamp because that's a whole other thing. But it's just not smart to only let people listen to a 20-second snippet of your song. You want to let them be able to listen to your entire song, and I mean YouTube and all that stuff is a great place to do all that. So where are we? So iTunes creates friction. They have to buy it. You can only listen to a small sample. Spotify also creates friction. You have to create an account, and not everybody has an account. And the way you have to set up an account, it creates more friction. So just be aware, if you want a direct line for your audience and people to listen to your music quickly and easily, especially if you want to give it to like venues and different places like that, you do not want to be sending them a Spotify link or iTunes link or anything like that. You want to send them somewhere where they can directly listen to your music, like easy, no friction whatsoever. And that's obviously YouTube is great, Bandcamp is great, SoundCloud is great, and even Dropbox links are great as well, because they are just no friction, just a link, hit play, and you can play it, and it's good to go. So that, I think I'm going to leave it at that. That's my ideas on where you should have your online presence. There's a lot of other things, depending on how you want to do it. And maybe I'll definitely talk about this more down the line, but Instagram's important, Snapchat's important. Okay, the other thing, I'm going to leave it with this. And there's other outlets that I have not mentioned, I'm not going to mention, that you do not need to consider. As long as you're doing this, you do not need to even think about other places that promote themselves as a music specific outlets. Don't even worry about the ones I mentioned here are the only ones you need to worry about. I'll leave it at that in that sentence. But what I'm going to say now, I'll probably talk about more later on, is how often do you interact with your online presence? There's this idea of posting too often and things like that. That's urban legend. That's a lie. There's no such thing as posting too often. You want to feed content to your audience as often as you possibly can. You want to be creating music and doing everything you can and feeding it out to your audience as daily. If you could make a song a day, that's what you should be doing. If you could make a post a day about something substantial content from what you're doing, a video, an announcement for a show, and it's fresh, new, different every single day, a song, something fresh, new, and different every single day. That's what you want to be doing with your online presence. And if anybody tells you different, they're not a fan of your music, and that's not who you're targeting anyway, because the people that are going to be a fan of your music and your career will eat up what you have to say every single day. So do it, get out there, hustle, create some content and put it out, and keep putting out. Relevant. Content is king, but context is king as well. Make sure it's relevant. Make sure it makes sense. Don't just like vomit all over everything. It has to be relevant, context based. Content is good, but it has to be relevant, and you just keep it fresh, keep it real, and keep feeding your audience it every single day that you can possibly do it. That's my 2 cents on that thing. I would love to hear what you think about it. Go to facebook.com/Word on the Street podcast, and in the comments of this podcast post on that page, feel free to tell me your thoughts. You can say, "Hey Zim, you are nuts. You don't know what you're talking about." I'd love to hear it. Or you can say, "Hey Zim, whoa, I never thought of it that way. I think you're onto something." I'd love to hear that too. So let's do it. All right, let's talk with Quiet right here on the podcast. All right, let's do this. Hey, here we are with Aeon. I know how to pronounce that name. I need help pronouncing your name.
Avtar. 2 syllables.
2 syllables. So
not like the movie.
Yeah, okay, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. So, in this whole right off the top, well, let's say, and the band is
Quiet.
Yay!
Yeah.
That wasn't very quiet. Yeah. Not so quiet. Normally I don't ask about band names, so we'll see if I decide to, because it's it's like this interesting idea to name your band Quiet, but when it's a band. So, but maybe we'll talk about that. We'll decide, because band names are usually the boringest thing to talk about. But let's not worry about that right now.
All right.
We're here. Let's do a real quick. Say your name again and what instrument you play and what role you play in the band, if there's extra stuff. And I think you two are the extra stuff. So
yeah, mainly. So I'm Avtar. I play guitar, and I started this band. So I write pretty much all the music. We collaborate too, but I write most of the music and just kind of try to provide direction, which means doing all the things, whatever they are.
All the things. Yeah.
Just asking, hey, help me with this.
Well, we can talk about all the things. That's the point. We have an hour of all the things to talk about.
So I'm Aeon, and I sing, do vocals, and write lyrics, and front the band.
Cool. We just had a little technical difficulty, so we're laughing about it. But
yeah.
She tends to do most of the booking too, just the way it tends to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
I do all the networking and
the hustle.
talking to people.
Hustle.
Yeah.
The hustler.
But everybody is super cool that I talk to generally, and I've known them for a little bit that I book with. So
the importance of networking, right? The
Yeah.
importance of curating relationships.
yeah, basically.
Yeah, cool. Well, we can talk more about that too. The next thing I like to do at the top of the podcast is set up the theater of the mind. Since I am way more mobile, pretty much exclusively mobile these days, I'm always in a different, new, fun space oftentimes. And this space is pretty fun. This is
you mean physically?
Yeah.
Ah.
This is pretty fun space that we're in. I like it. I'm enjoying it. But I want to hear in your words a description of what we're sitting in.
So we're sitting in a square box with
We're in the Georgetown Foundry by the train tracks.
Yeah, the Olympic Foundry. This is where they make all the manhole covers.
Okay.
For the state pretty much, or the county or something.
Cool.
And we're by the train tracks, so that's always really cool when people come to try out or whatever first time. That's always kind of come in this unmarked door underneath the Georgetown Bridge and walk down this scary hall. And I swear, everything's cool.
Yeah.
Just come down here by the plywood and nothing bad will happen to you.
Well, as we were saying when we got here, I've been here one time before I can't remember what the band was or what, but it was a long time ago, and it's but I was having the I've been here before moment, but it's been a while.
It's like a nightmare. Run.
No,
It's
not
like
at
the
all.
Twin Peaks background right there too.
Oh, here's Eamon.
All right, cool. You have to sit on the floor. You're good. We're just
Hi,
getting started,
Eamon.
so we can catch you up real quick.
Eamon plays guitar too.
But just sit down and we'll get you in there. I'll work you in.
But this room's cool. We share with a couple other bands that are from my old band, and one of the guys in that band installed, what do you call these, Edison lights? So we got all these science-looking light bulbs and palm trees in the wall and just, hundreds or whatever of old band posters from shows for the last almost decade, I guess.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Lots of posters.
Lots of posters.
And very
lots of
colorful
amps.
posters. You guys, no black and white posters in this house.
Oh, no. Well, you don't put those on the wall.
Yeah.
Print out some good ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good spot. We've had it for a long time.
You have to talk a little bit about the legacy of the room too. Like you mentioned, who else has rehearsed in the space?
Well, my old band Atomic Bride moved in here maybe 5 years ago or something.
Yeah.
And we used to share with the Viz Queens, so we just kind of inherited it from them when they broke up, basically, or stopped playing.
Yeah.
So a lot of this stuff was already in here, like the palm trees.
Cool.
And the carpeting.
Cool.
And then, when that band kind of fizzled out, we all started our own bands over time, and so all three of our bands still practice down here, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it's cozy because we know everybody who practices down here, and there's not a bunch of churn as far as people moving out and moving in and weird stuff. It's kind of homey.
And as somebody that's been in a lot of these spaces, it's actually quite clean. It doesn't feel like you leave your drumsticks in the corner building up or beer cans building up or anything
Smells sour.
Yeah, it's actually I could actually feel comfortable in here playing and rehearsing and doing things. So
Yeah, we try not to be disrespectful to the other people.
Yay for you guys.
Thanks.
But that sets it up pretty good. Surrounded by amps, surrounded by posters, warm lighting. It's comfortable. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Fuzzy carpets on the ground.
Yeah, it's cool.
There's usually beer in the fridge. So
Usually, yeah.
Usually. Cool. So we just heard the new voice that walked in. What's your name again?
Eamon.
Eamon. What role do you play in the band?
I play rhythm guitar.
Rhythm
mostly.
guitar. Do you do anything else? Like what I asked these guys was, is there any extra thing, or you just come in and play guitar and that's
Not
it?
really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, like poster making or sweet picking up drumsticks, like I
thought
said.
about making some posters, so that's.
Have you?
Oh, you've thought about it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's always
He
up
hasn't
there.
mentioned this.
That's what I love about the podcast too, is when things come to the surface that has never been said before. It's like
Right.
first time #posters.
You're not gonna make us pay you, right? I'm gonna have free poster making.
Yes.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool. Where I like to go, so the next kind of thing is just doing like a potential bullet point of things we could talk about over the next 40 minutes to an hour. And one thing I know right off the top is you just finished an EP, so we can get into that and see how you felt about it and all that good stuff. You also mentioned before the mics are on, there's been lineup changes with the band, and I would love to explore that because it's always just a top talking point and seeing how it affects the momentum, because we've already talked about some philosophy around it, which I want to get into, which is awesome. So that's that. Is there other ideas, other things that maybe it would be a good bullet point that you guys want to bring? Because this is definitely a forum for you. So if there's things that you want to say about your project, let's get it out,
We're trying to do like basic breakdown of like, I like traveling a lot, and I really wanted to do music like everywhere basically. And so now Avtar's been practicing all the songs acoustically, so then we can do acoustic sets just in case, like, Eamon can't come, or Justin or whoever's playing with us at the time, or if we can't get the full band, like we can still get a full sound from just two of us.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like we've kind of discussed it with Eamon. I don't know, whenever he wants to like join in on the party.
Yeah.
It's in progress at the
Like
moment.
learn the acoustic, like be a second acoustic kind of thing.
Yeah, or just add to it a bit, and like we're trying to just get out there more, you know,
and how to. So it's like, how can you do more with your project? Than just the one thing.
It's hard to lift up 5 people with all their heavy equipment and loud stuff and try to go, hey, we're going to go to some other city and play for no money and no people, and totally get a plane ticket now.
That's all part of it. That's part of the. I'm all in on the metaphysical aspect of being a musician. And it's like, if you want the universe to know that you're serious about it, you got to do what musicians do, and that's get out there and play music. And you can't just stay in your own city, It's
in the Martin Atkins book, Tour Smart.
Yeah.
That's like one of the main things in it all the time. It's just like, screw the albums and everything else. It's like, gotta go places.
Yeah, totally. Awesome.
But
I love that.
It's not pure acoustic, though. We're still using like pedals and stuff.
Okay.
So it's not like crazy distortion or anything.
Yeah, I still got my echo and
I can't play guitar without reverb. Like,
yeah. Who would?
Makes me nervous.
No, I get you. I totally get you. Cool. Well, that's a couple bullet points, and we can drop in other. If anything comes up throughout the conversation, you could totally drop it in at any point, or remember it and bring it up at any point. So we can it's a total conversation. There's no like rules. Oh, I didn't tell you guys. There's no rules. That's the thing with this. There's no rules. So remember that. What I've been really digging on these days, and the last bunch of podcasts have started this way, and I'm going to keep on rolling with it, is I feel like I've come up with this like X, Y axis kind of for how bands exist in the scene. And I wanted to find out, so my Y axis is the vertical axis, and that's the genre, like how you place yourselves genre-wise within the scene, because there's so much going on in the Seattle Northwest music community. So that's like how you live in the genre spectrum. And then my X axis is the kind of more goals-oriented spectrum, where one side of it is we just want to be in our bedroom and play music and don't really care if anybody ever hears it.
And be like, why are you talking to us?
Yeah. And the other end of the spectrum is we're ready to take over the world, which it sounds like you're totally going toward that end of the spectrum, which I love to hear.
Yeah.
Maybe not take over the world, but get out there and do stuff. So like that's the kind of goals-oriented spectrum. There's a lot that falls on that. There's obviously the touring aspect, but recording aspect, and what the evolution of sound, and there's this weird hybrid of the two that happens with evolution of sound. So I want to find out from you guys where you like to place yourself in that XY spectrum. And it's usually a good place to I like to start with the goals part of it a little bit. I mean, we kind of already started dabbling in it, and a kind of a good place to start is when you set out, when you like Avtar, maybe you could start this because it's kind of your baby a little bit more, I guess. A little bit started with your conception of it. When you started the idea, what were some of the goals that you've achieved so far with it?
When I started it, I mean, of course, there's the part of me that's always like, I want to make everything I do as big as possible, you know, right? I'm not just like going to just hang out in my room or whatever.
Yeah,
but, when I started it, at the same time, like I actually wanted this project to not be overthought, if that makes sense. Like,
no,
I've never been the primary songwriter in any band or anything like that before. I was more of like, I saw myself at least as more of like a production help, you know what I mean? Like I'll help rearrange songs and help in the studio a bit, and you know, I played bass always instead and stuff like that. And I always just kind of, whenever I'd have song ideas and stuff, they'd always just come in and out and go away, and I never really held on to them. Yeah. So I was just like, I want to make a band that's big and heavy and loud and pretty and atmospheric and good, and not throw songs away this time. Oh, okay. I'm just going to keep all the songs I like to write and write them into stuff and just do everything we can with that. And that's basically what we do, I guess. Like, you know, I wanted to just start playing shows as much as possible and record albums. I want to work with cool artists on, you know, posters or package design, or just get involved with creative people as much as possible and just try to continue to push forward. You know? Which is the reason we haven't, at least at the moment, we haven't been focused on doing like an album ever at the moment, because it's like, I really want to focus on, you know, doing a few releases a year of small amounts of stuff. Just that way it's always like, hey, we just finished something up. It feels good. Feel happy about it. We're also currently working on the next thing we think we're going to be doing. And there's always a change in, like, you know, I don't want like a constant aesthetic. I never wanted this to be a band that's like got a certain kind of brand or look or thing like that to it, you know? I appreciate bands that are like that personally, but I kind of wanted this to be outside of those things and just be like, this is people writing music that they care about, period. We're going to explore that real quick. Or, you know, we're going to stop there and explore that idea. How have you felt yet any kind of pushback or any kind of reaction based on the idea of not trying to stay within an area, due to the fact that what I've found in my exploration of all this is the general public likes to have expectation. They like to know what is going to happen. They like predictable kind of stuff. So if you start to explore really broadly, you kind of, it's hard to find your audience in a way. It depends. I mean, we don't have synths and we don't have any kind of electronics in that way. And what I mean by that is, like, the sound palette we're working with is limited, not in a bad way. Just, you know, we've got a certain configuration of instruments and certain pedals and stuff, sure, to spice it up or whatever. But so because of that, you know, no matter what we do, in a sense, it's kind of gonna sound a certain way. And I think I actually, not intentionally, but just have a tendency to write songs of a certain way. Yeah. So what I've found is that, like, we played a new song on Friday that's I considered to be quite a departure for us, you know, and as we actually have now played it out live and stuff like that, it's really not at all. Yeah. Like, everybody's like really reacts to it really well, and they really like it. And I realized that, oh, that's like a quiet song, like a not the band quiet, but like the band, you know, that's like a peaceful little song, but it totally actually sounds like us, because anything we do is by nature going to sound like us. You know, I get it. And so it hasn't really been a problem like that. You know, we managed to like explore deeply instead of broadly, I guess, maybe. So, you know, because of the sonic palette, like you said, it keeps it recognizable. I think so, you know, and I just have a certain way of writing that's kind of my style. Like, when I first started writing a lot of these songs,
essence.
My essence. Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny. Especially when we were first starting, there were people, a lot of my friends and people were kind of like, yeah, that sounds exactly like the band that you would make. Yeah. And I'm like, well, that's a good thing. Yeah. Well, it is. Let's explore this real quick. Are there any, so you have your sound palette. Do you stay, like, is it a rule for yourself, is the best way I can put it, to stay within that sound palette? Do you say, like, we're not at all? But so there is maybe you will eventually bring in a synth or something, or do something different, but just right now you're kind of focused. Yeah, we're really focused on it. I kind of at least for now and for the foreseeable future, I'm kind of anti synth specifically, just because at the moment I'm really caught up on this idea of everything being acoustic, and I don't mean like acoustic guitar. I just meant the act of someone plucking a string. Every pluck is different, or every hit of the bass drum is different than the one before, and every time you sing a given phrase, it can vary slightly or whatever. And I
maybe
really
organic is a better way.
Yeah, organic. And I'm really caught up on that idea at the moment.
No, I love it.
So I kind of am anti the idea of introducing anything electric that can be like replicated at the moment.
Well, I think too, it's gonna also shift a little bit because we're gonna have also Eamon bring in some of his songs, so it'll be like his influence too. And like I have a few songs that I had written before this band that he was saying that I should bring in, so it will kind of, I think within the sound will still be us, but you'll hear our different like pieces.
So in that sense, well, I want to explore the whole idea of songwriting and ask you, Avtar, like, it sounds like you're just answered the question I was going to ask, which is like how do you, since you're now in the project together with people and you've been doing it for a while, like giving everybody sometimes the feeling of ownership, sometimes in that songwriting process helps create ownership from everybody. So how has the songwriting process evolved?
It's been changing. I mean, there's early on, even like a lot of the vocal melodies, like sure, sometimes I'll come up with them or whatever, but a lot of them, I don't even know how much Aeon's aware of this, but a lot of them would be like, we just leave the recorder running and we'd play the songs and she'd just be like singing noises and stuff for, a few practices in a row or whatever. And I would listen to that stuff on the way to like work or during the day all the time, stuff like that. And start to pick out parts I thought were really cool or whatever. Like that's the great thing. That's what we're going to base the melody around, that idea, and like things would go from there. So that happens a lot. And even in the past, like solos and things that I've asked Eamon to do or whatever, I'm like, there's jam sessions, of course, and like Life in a Bottle. Just like our bassist Lewis was just like showing us this idea, and like the next practice I came, I was like, all right, here's a song based on that. Here we go.
So the way you write is very production oriented. It sounds like as well. It's like you listen and go like, what is going on with my players that I can then pull out of them a little bit.
That's my hope. As far as production oriented go, I mean, all the instruments are important, I never want anybody just doing something because you got to have something to do. Me and Eamon, we try, it's not 100% of the time because sometimes it makes sense, but we try for the most part not to kind of be doing the same thing. And we try to be like in different parts of the instrument, sort of like if one of us is strumming low, like the other is more likely to be doing like a high thing up on the high strings on the chorus or pedal or echoes and things like that. We try to kind of just be in different places as much as we can, but not all the time.
What I've always liked to do along those lines with songwriting is if you stripped away every instrument except one, you would know the song that it is, because it has a distinct kind of thing. It's not just like cool. You know what I mean? It's
most of our songs have been written on acoustic guitar for that reason. That's extremely important. I was talking to Esty about that recently. We were talking about shoegaze music in particular and how beautiful and wonderful it is and all the pedals and all the soundscapes and you love it. And at the same time, like on a personal level, I'm like, but I want to be able to play songs in that unplugged version and still know it's that song.
Well, I think what I meant as well is like if it was just the bass line, you'd know what song it is. If it was just the drum beat, you'd know what song it is. If it was just the second guitar line, you'd know what song, because they each have a distinct. It wasn't just like you're doubling up and filling sound. Kind of like you kind of.
I see what you're saying. Yes, that's
but I agree with both. Both of those are very important.
Most of the parts in all of our songs are unique like that. You'd be able to tell, like you can tell which guitar is playing what part, and pretty clear, which is cool.
And it sounds to me like you also have a solid formation. I can't think of the right word again, but for the band itself, like Aeon is always going to be the lead singer, right?
Oh yeah.
Like if Eamon brings a song in, he's not going to be like, I want to sing this one.
Unless he's really killing it. There's on the Pixies album, there's the one the drummer does.
I think Queen does that too.
Pretty
Brian
Baby,
May.
that one. La La Love
cool
You.
To experiment, but Aeon's definitely our number one.
So you write, you Aeon Aemon. That's gonna be a tongue twister.
Yeah.
And well, all 3 A's right here. That's interesting.
Yeah, mine actually starts with an E.
Oh,
His is
okay.
E,
It's
his is
a
EA.
Oh,
Yeah.
trick
To
name.
screw you up.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm dyslexic too, so it's just like whatever, you know. But it sounds like, you know, it's like you write for the roles, you know, which I appreciate a lot. When I watch a band, one of my biggest pet peeves, I'm just gonna lay it out here.
Yeah,
I'm being honest with you. I can't stand rotating instruments. Like, let me play bass on this song. It's like, why didn't the bass player learn that song? Like that one song, you know, it just doesn't make sense to me. And I hate it. I just like, I want to know what the band is supposed to do, and they just lay into it and do that thing. I know I'm getting really opinionated.
I feel like some people do that just for the looks of it. You know, like Jack White does that. And what is that? What is his?
Dead Weather?
Dead Weather. Yeah, they switch around all the time, and he'll swing his guitar to his back and play keys all of a sudden and push the keyboardist aside to the drums or whatever. It's weird.
Well, I guess, I mean, I don't know. I think somebody like Jack White can get away with it.
He's like, this
That's
is my
true.
band. I
guess
can do
if
it
we're
all.
getting to that level.
Yeah, I think it's the more local level that I get a little bit, because it's normally not. It's more, to me, it just looks like you didn't learn that part. You should have just learned that part.
Yeah.
Maybe. They're probably just trying to have
I don't know.
fun.
Getting into my mind a little bit. But cool. So we're talking about songwriting and stuff. Let's bring it back to that goal spectrum. So do you feel, so we're getting into exploring the band with bringing in more of the other players into the songwriting process is like where we kind of ended up. There has been, well, I wanted to also talk, I guess, for a moment about the lineup kind of change and philosophy that's happened because of that, and how that has affected some of this process. Is it like, I guess you kind of talked about it already a little bit with,
I don't mean to like laugh.
no, they're fine, with the idea of being able to play all the songs in multiple formats. It's like the acoustic format as well as the full band format, and that might be playing into some of what's going on with the band as well. But talk, like we did off the mic, about your philosophy of what you want to do even though the lineup changes are going on.
Oh, well, we were just kind of talking about how at this point we hope to just, you know, even when there's lineup changes and things going on, just keep booking shows and assume we will find people we really like to play with and try to get the best people we can to play with us, really. I mean, that's kind of the main thing we're trying to do now. You know, we got a new drummer recently, Justin, who's really good. Yeah. And it's, you know, it changes how the band feels always in a good way.
Yeah, he's so good. Yeah. He's pretty humble, but well, maybe not deep down. Who knows? But he's super
Pasqua.
good. Yeah, Pasqua.
But we've
in my phone, it's pow pow kapow.
Yep. Pow. Exclamation point.
He's been on the podcast before with Patrick Galactic.
Oh, cool.
One of those guys.
Yeah.
Who you know.
And they played with you guys at your CD release, which we'll talk about. That whole thing, how that went down.
But even that, like, I do already. It's only been a month or two or something, not that long,
maybe
6 weeks, something like that.
Yeah.
And already I do like less drum writing at this point.
Okay.
Because I can, you know, just the way it is, you just kind of be like, something like this, and then just let them go. And it's like, yep, like that. And I'll say a couple things, and that's like accelerates things greatly, you know. And there's always going to be those things with lineup changes, right? So there's always the difference between finding people that you have to be like, do exactly what I say, and wanting that kind of level of control, and being like, you know what, do it your way, and having that fit in as well. So, and I imagine with bass changes, the same kind of thing will probably occur. But we'll see.
Cool. With so this is your second EP or first?
It's our first EP, but our first thing was we called it a single because it was 2 songs.
Oh, okay.
And then this is a 4-song. The first one we just kind of wanted to get out just so people could get our sound and see what we sounded like. So we wouldn't just be like, come to our shows blindly and hope.
And just to get us into the studio and be like, we're going. We're going to go through the process of recording somewhere, making sure we can make these songs sound the way we want, work on art, get things pressed, like just do the whole thing.
All right. Well, let's get nerdy on this one. Let's start getting nerdy on this one.
Yay.
So tell me about, so we already mentioned that you want to just keep writing stuff. So that's part of why it's short, I assume. Like the EP philosophy is like,
it's not even the writing though. Yeah. It's just the act of going into the studio and making it. Yeah. Wrapping your head around 10 to 12 songs in 40, 45, whatever minutes is hard. Yeah. Yeah. And I'd rather focus on 2, 3, 4 songs and just really laser focus on getting them perfect, air quotes.
Yeah.
you know, because I'm like, this is what I always say to everybody, so people are probably tired of hearing it, but I'm always like, you know, nobody goes, I love that album. I love how it has like, you know, 13 songs on it.
Yeah.
That's really my favorite thing about that album. Like, nobody cares about that. But when there's that one song you love and it sounds great, you know, you're just like, I love that one song. Who cares if it was on another album or not, you know? Do
you have any kind of, like, and any of you can answer this, does any nostalgia play into the desire to do certain amount of songs at a time? Like, for me personally, I definitely have, like, I would love to put out like quote unquote an album's worth of music, because it's like this really tangible, like an album, you know.
I've been like
For
that in
sure.
the past. Yeah. You
But
go for
yeah,
it. Go
it's
for it.
like, I don't think it's like realistic at this point.
Yeah.
That would be awesome to do, but
Yeah.
it's got to be like all good shit.
Because because it's like what you're. Well, I'll speak from my perspective of it. You're talking, the expense goes up, time goes up, just, you know, everything that you mentioned is just, there's just more involved. So it's like, what do you do? Wait and save up or whatever and write up, you know, like save up ideas and save up money and save up to do it, or do you just do it faster, shorter?
If there was a huge like marketing push, like if you're on I mean, these are all my personal feelings on this, so feel free to tell me I'm wrong about whatever. But
no.
Like, I don't know that, you know, for the most part, aside from like really major label, big, you know, pop productions and, you know, hip hop and whatever else is going on these days, winning Grammys and shit, I don't know that especially younger people are really listening to albums much in the first place.
Yeah.
It's all online anyway. It's all, you listen to half a song and you
iTunes.
skip around. You're on your daily Spotify, you know, playlist that it's made for you and stuff like that. So it's like, from a nostalgia perspective, absolutely. It's like, oh, I want to make an album. And it's like really cool. And it's my collection of songs that matter and they're all connected and all that. And I've done that in my past band before too, you know, and I've worked a couple times. We worked on things like that. But these days I'm just like, man, like I just want every song to stand on its own so heavily that it's like, I don't know, pick 3 or 4 or 5 songs we like and throw them together. And let's call that a thing. And then let's do it again in a while.
I get it.
And why wait?
I'm like even farther to the extreme of that spectrum right now. I'm like one song at a time. That's it.
Well, that's right. You have like the challenge to do like a song a week, month.
Well, for myself, it's one song a month, but for my band, because I'm doing that with myself, it's like opened up this whole like new thought process for me, where it's like, well, it's cheaper. I can actually afford to record one song than even 4 songs or 5 songs. And I've been dying to get my band's music out there in a format and the quality that I really want. And I was like, why am I so attached to an EP or an album or anything? It's like, let's just put one song out. And then it's like, but then I'll take it all the way through. I'll go like one song, video, you know, instrumental track, remix. You know, that's
remix,
that's where I'll put the emphasis on the one song.
You make an album of remixes.
Yeah,
like
well,
further down the spiral style, it's like 6 different versions of the one song you made. And whatever.
Well, at least one remix would be. But anyway, but that's just, and then do that like, because what I see too is like it plays to what you're saying is like get out more material sooner. Because that's what people are hungry for. They just like, it's like the moment you put it out, they're asking for what the next thing is.
And you're constantly moving too. Like we want to be in end of August again, recording in the studio, and then hopefully maybe a month or 2 after we'll do another. I don't know if we'll do another party or what.
Of course we will. Every time.
Always party.
It'll be great. And people in sales just be constantly like, didn't they just have, what? Didn't they just have that? Didn't they already have that party, the EP release party?
Yeah.
Another one? Jeez.
Well, let's put in a song. We're halfway through. So what song do we want to put in?
Probably Last Note, right?
Yeah, Last Note.
Last Note's
Dude, there's double guitar solos in that one.
You're so proud of that.
I know. Well, you can hear your 2 different tones in it.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Okay, cool. Anything else besides double guitar solos that we want to mention about this?
It's a little angry.
It's an angry song.
She curses for the first time.
Oh,
so
yeah.
nice.
Hey,
twice,
high fives, air high fives.
High five.
I'm new. I'm kind of doing, I don't know if you're new to cursing in general, but I'm new to cursing.
No, not in general, but on music recorded. It's like,
I mean music. Yeah.
I was real glad because it means it has a little parental advisory sticker on iTunes. That warms my heart.
Fancy.
All my stuff nowadays is doing that. I'm talking about myself too much, but, but it's like, I don't know.
It's a good convo.
Yeah, so cursing, just angry, just don't let your kids cover your earmuffs. Time for earmuffs.
Yeah,
Listening.
Nah, they'll be fine. It'll empower them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else about the song before we drop it in? Okay. All right, let's do it. Last Note by Quiet. I'll walk into the night. So before the song, we were talking about just getting material out there. I think we covered some of that ideas. Where did I want to go? I wanted to go into this idea of touring kind of stuff. This like some goals around how you plan to do some of that. You mentioned when we were organizing this, you mentioned you were going to be on not tour soon, but like Austin or something.
Yeah,
so
we're going to Austin tomorrow.
Okay.
Well, I guess when this airs, it won't be a tomorrow.
No,
but
I forgot to mention one.
Yeah.
It was a while ago. Okay.
But we're just starting to do more open mics just to kind of test the waters, and the booking was a little bit harder down there. So we have a band that we played with up here that kind of gave us some advice, and then since I'm a hairstylist, I talked to everyone that's gone down there, and they're go here, go here, go here. So I have a few places that we can go, but mostly do open mics and just travel a bunch for now and go to different places.
Yeah, like she's saying, like in a longer term, just like try to get out every 6 to 8 weeks or something, maybe. Just go somewhere, even if
Can
it's
I
just for
tell
a few
you
days.
the story about how this kind of... Okay.
That's what the podcasts are
So,
for.
okay.
Story time. Story time
So
with Aeon.
initially, I really was looking to move out of Seattle, and just kind of like what all of my travels have been is to discover cities that I maybe want to move to and look into their music scenes. And then I wasn't sure about this band, to be honest, because I didn't know if I wanted to be more of like a lead in a band or just be like someone who writes for somebody else. And anyway, basically after a while, Avtar's like, yeah, we're not a band without you in it. I was like, really? And so I'm like, maybe I'm in the band. Yeah. And so I felt more accepted, I guess, because I didn't know if I was doing a good job. And I know it's weird. I'm kind of self-conscious here and there. I think artists are.
Artists, yeah. I think we all are probably.
So once I just kind of checked into this band, I was like, so I have this idea, because I don't want to just keep going on vacation and like just wasting time like watching other bands and musicians. I want to do something about it. And so when I told him about the idea of like making acoustic sets or getting into the more quieter spaces of like, you know, smaller venues or open mic venues, like for example, in West Seattle, there's Shadowland has an acoustic setup, but there's no freaking way like I didn't cuss, no really cuss. There's like a huge 5-piece band, like rock band is going to be in there blowing that place up. So it's just, I guess that's the idea behind that. And so these are my plans. Like I want to hit Austin and Denver and like Nashville before the year's over. I also want to go back to New York City. And so he's on board for all of that. And so instead of me looking for a new place to live, it's actually now turned into this idea of so
I'm getting the sense that it's mainly just going to be you two going out.
For the most part,
and everybody else, it's up to them.
Yeah.
So, but
it's all going to be just scheduling and money and
depends
everything else.
on work schedules and things like that. But it's a cool idea. Yeah.
So is it so what I'm gathering, what I'm sensing is you two will do it regardless, and then whoever wants to join in is welcome to.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
More than welcome.
Encouraged.
Encouraged.
So this is really definitely,
and hopefully, you know, as we meet other bands and places and stuff like that over time, you know, when we can get the whole band together and go, hey, let's go on a real tour for 2 weeks or whatever, a year or whatever, or less or more, and you know, we'll have more people we've met in those towns and sold CDs to or whatever already, you know, just a bit more of a connection of these places. It just sounds like a good way to
like a reconnaissance missions.
Kind of.
Scout it out, get a feel for it.
There will still be a lot of eating tacos and like sitting in the sun, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, if you come to San Diego, there's sun and tacos, and I'm there.
Hells
My cousin is there.
Cool.
DJs down there.
Well, we'll have to I definitely want to check back like in whatever 6 months or a year and see how it's evolved, because that's awesome.
See if we're still alive.
It's like, you know, it's ambitious and awesome, and I think it's important, and it's like, because it's like there's no return other than the networking. It's like you're not going to be doing open mics and stuff. You're not going to be making any money.
Even if you play bigger shows, though, you actually don't really make money unless you sell a lot of shirts.
I guess it's not an expectation. It's just like, I guess for me, I'm looking at it as vacation time, also like being productive. So I don't feel like I'm just being a beach bum or whatever, wherever we go, like, like still working.
Well, it's like it's like that idea of like when you can find something that you love, work. It's like you don't really work anymore, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and it's kind of like trying to find that space. It sounds like where it's like it's not work because you just want to do it, you know, and it doesn't feel, you know.
Love it, yeah. And me and him have the most flexible jobs, I think. Yeah. Well, I have a really flexible job where I'm just, you know, it's like I'm gonna be gone for a week, guys.
Some people are like that. Like my guitar teacher, I remember he plays music constantly, obviously, and he was telling me like I think it was this year, a few months ago. It was like the first time in his life that he'd ever gone to visit somewhere and not played shows while he was there. Just he's like, I just always am like, oh well, I'm in this town, I should play some shows, and I'm playing shows every night. And it's just like he's never just like relaxed in a town before. That was kind of funny. Yeah,
well, that's like, well, when I come to Seattle, it's like that for me. I just don't want to relax. I want to be doing stuff, booking shows and whatever.
Hang out with buddies.
Record podcasts. I don't even hang out. It's like this is my hangout. We're hanging out right now. in case you didn't know.
You get to record your hangout.
Yeah, basically. I wanted to talk a little bit more, just a hair more on the vertical, the Y part of the spectrum of your kind of sound. We talked about your intentions of the sound is to stay within a realm of organic. We kind of phrase it as, you know, if somebody we've heard the one song already, so we got that sense already, but like if somebody hasn't heard your sound before, what would you say to them? What's the way that you put on your press kit?
You just say it was like heavy atmospheric rock
music. Moody psych punks.
A little bit of psychness.
Okay.
Some punk rock beats occasionally.
Cool.
Sort of.
I guess
Not too
get
punk.
A lot of people asking me because I'm just like rock music, and they're like, what kind of rock? And it's like, well, big loud noises, but not metal.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to narrow it down, and I just start saying the influences when we initially started, which is like Queens of the Stone Age and Swans and
Evanescence,
Bosnian Rainbows.
Bosnian Rainbows is great. Anything Terry Ginderbender does is great, always.
Stuff like that. So.
Creed.
Shut up over there.
Creed? Did you say Creed? Especially, you know.
No.
How could I forget?
You're fired.
No. That was funny. I think that was a joke, right?
Definitely.
We'll find out.
Yeah. we did say you're going to be doing some songwriting of your own.
Right.
Yeah.
So Creed is a premonition or like a, you know, what's going
big
to happen.
Influence. Big influence.
Big influence.
Cool. Awesome.
I hope you're joking.
One of the ideas I like to talk about these days is I'm really into like support, like how maybe this can be stirred into your CD release in a way, because it was like a bunch of bands that I know and talking about how you collected those bands, but we'll see how it sprinkles in. But this idea of support in the scene, like how the scene supports itself, how we feel support from being musicians, being artists in our own lives and stuff, and how that happens. So I'm kind of individualizing this, taking this out of the band in a way, and I'm going to ask each of you this question, but you can talk to it in the band format and then also in your personal life format. But basically it's just the idea of where in this process of being musicians and up to this point have you felt the most support for what you do? What have you felt that has allowed you to continue this, to do what you do? I'll just leave it at that and we'll see what kind of happens. Let's start over here.
As far as like support, like most of the people I know, like parents and like people like that, like they're like totally just like go for it, just like
I should say as well, just
know,
to
follow your heart or whatever, you know, follow your dreams.
Don't want to cut you off too hard, but like the idea of like it can be abstract as well, like if it's something you heard, like a song that's really moved you and it's helped you continue doing what, or whatever, you know, but anyways, continue.
Yeah. I don't know, like I enjoyed playing, and so I everybody that I know in my life is very supportive of that and just doing that. So,
has there been anything for you, personally, that you would like to see more of in the support realm for what you do or how you do it, or that you, I mean,
not really. I mean,
really.
it's got to come from within,
Yeah.
I guess, right? If you don't really feel it, then what's the point of doing it, type deal. So, I don't know. Like, you know.
Yeah, it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's all good, yo.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Well, Avtar?
I'm probably just a really ungrateful person, but I usually don't believe anything anyone tells me.
Okay.
And so I usually don't feel necessarily a ton of support.
Okay.
And I don't care, I guess. I don't know. I just
Yeah.
I like when people like it, but I usually don't like talking to people about it if they're like, "Yo, you're really good" or whatever. It makes me uncomfortable.
Well, let's
honestly.
I want to tie this into a little bit of like, then what is it for you that keeps the fuel going? What helps you keep writing? What helps you keep playing?
I can't really help it. I just have,
Yeah.
I usually all the time have like song ideas running through my head, and always have, and I'm always finger drumming or sitting around playing bass and guitars and things. I can't really help it. So I just get really frustrated when I just want things to manifest, I guess, like the song I want to be able to hear the damn song.
Yeah.
So the only way to do that is to get the band together, make the song happen.
Yeah.
If it doesn't sound right, then it, annoys me until it's right.
Yeah.
And then it's right, and then it's like, good, now we can record it so I can listen to it. Because that's very important.
Okay.
Then I can hear it.
So in a roundabout way.
So I just want to hear it.
So in a roundabout way, the band has supported you to allow
Well,
you
yes.
to
So there's, yes. As far as the public goes, I have no idea. I probably am
You're
just
welcome.
ungrateful. The band supports me very much.
Yeah.
Even when I have weird ideas or whatever that I think, I'm sometimes like afraid to, I don't want them to feel like I'm forcing them to do a certain thing if they don't actually like it or whatever. But it really has never been like that. They always have good ideas and like kind of understand what I'm trying to do usually. So they run with it. So they've been very supportive.
Cool.
But yeah, as far as drive goes, I just can't help it, I guess.
Yeah,
I just want to hear it. I want to hear the song, so I have to make it.
Cool. Aeon?
So support, or what was the question?
Yeah, no,
Sorry.
it's fine. No, I just like how have you felt supported through your journey? Like, who has helped you? What idea or person or thing, or I mean, it could be yourself.
Yeah.
What has?
I mean, my brother a lot, and then also like, I don't know if I told this story before about when I was a kid. I told my mom I wanted to be a rock star, and she said, "Be realistic." And so I'm like, I got something to prove in a way. I'm like, I'll show you. And so I'm kind of doing this, and then also I do get kind of fueled by people. I don't want to say not believing in me, but just like I feel like I started this in motion, and I want to keep going to keep it like finished. I feel like if I don't keep going, then I'm just gonna fail myself.
Yeah.
And then I also just like to support other musicians too, especially ones that are like, I can tell when someone's passionate, and I love Patrick Galactic's music so good, just because you can hear his passion in his voice and songs. And even among authors, you just watch them perform. I guess bringing up that for the EP party, that's why I asked them. They're so good. And I also like Temple Canyon, like Mariko, I think is how you say Mariko.
Okay,
Sorry.
I don't know them.
Pronouncing. But yeah, they're passionate, and like I asked Justin to drum with us, and Jason Shao and to bass for us, and they're like, hell yeah, because they fucking love playing music. And so I like meeting people like that, and those also types of people keep me fueled too. And even you're like, listen to my song. I'm like, hell yeah, and just blasting it in my car. I'm like, sexy saxophone, hell yeah, you got that going. Among other things, of course. But I mean, yeah, and just having, I guess I don't know too much about the Seattle scene right now, because I feel like it kind of shifted a little bit while I've been in it in the last 4 years, and just with a bunch of musicians I've known moving away.
Sure.
And so I'm kind of trying to watch it and seeing like the Plus One Fest is still the same types of musicians that are playing these other festivals. And that's interesting to me because Tim or Tibasa, he had that other festival of like the Downstream. Yeah. And those were like, that was the other half of musicians that are kind of left out of that, and I'm like, that's so kind of cool to see those too. So anyway, that kind of drives me because I'm like, where do we sit? And I still am like, I'm gonna keep building us up. And I mean, not that it's just me, of course, but
I've never understood how all that works. Like,
I don't know, but it's interesting to me. So that's what kind of keeps me. I'm like watching it, and I'm always on.
Well, I want to explore what's all that, how all that works.
Oh, just it's nice seeing people like T-Basa and how he fosters community.
Yeah.
You know, and it's always really cool to see what bands have like their own little kind of, not scenes per se, but really support each other and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, it's always nice to try to foster that yourself and be part of all that. But I never understand how it works.
Yeah.
Just be nice. Get
true.
to know everybody. And know who's real, I guess, and not vindictive and mean. And I don't know. I don't think you succeed very much being a dick.
Well, that's true.
Maybe. I don't know.
Have you seen the president?
I was going to say not bring that in.
Yeah.
That's why I trailed off. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, cool.
Anyway.
Let's see. Is there... I was going to ask my second question, but you started to go into it already, which is like this, when I say the Seattle music scene, like, what do you think of? And you kind of already, you mentioned that you feel like there's like it's kind of going through a
shift or something. But then I don't know if it's because from my last band, so I guess I have this experience of like, I felt like I had a bigger community of people when I was in Wandering King. And then once that kind of dissipated, there was like a lot of the bands that we played with are no longer also. And I'm like, wait a minute, who do I ask to play? Like, where are these people? Where'd they go? And I don't know if it's like me getting older and seeing like people just decide to not do music anymore, which I cannot fathom, but I'm just like, where is everyone going? Like, what's happening? Who's passionate and who's like just doing it for, you know, like the love of it, or like, I don't know, just for show, I suppose. I don't know. For lack of ways to say it. I guess I can't really explain because I don't quite know the levels. Like, I do almost feel like there is this level system.
Yeah.
So
there's like a bunch of different like niches, it seems like, and it's hard to like look at it and differentiate like where everybody fits in. And
it could be the growth of Seattle too. Just that's a shift also. So like, who knows where people are, where they're ending up, because it's getting more expensive to live here. So a lot of musicians are moving, or they're just like, well, we might as well pay this kind of rent in New York or this kind of rent in LA and move to a city that like helps musicians. I don't know. Not that those two cities do, but I know Nashville does and Austin does.
Well, it's like the industry idea. It's like there's no real industry in Seattle.
Yeah.
It's like what I've been saying for a long time now is that it's like Seattle's a great place to incubate, to come up with ideas, to like, you know, grow as a musician and create. But it's not a great place to like have a career and launch out of, because there's no industry support. You know, there's not many PR agencies here. There's no labels here, like bigger labels. You know, there's a bunch of smaller ones with varying degrees of how you define a label. But yeah, so it's like it's interesting, and I think I don't know, it's a great place to create. Basically.
I like watching and seeing what's happening.
Yeah,
even just with the change in like more of the bigger companies coming in and shit like that. That's kind of been disturbing to me a little bit, just within my line of work too, day to day, and meeting those people where I'm just like, I'm in a band. They're like, do you do anything really? It's like, what the fuck? Like, it's like, go hike, go on that mountain with the other people. I don't know. Whatever.
Sure. I wanted to do this. I haven't asked this in a while to the people I've been talking to, but it's basically like an individual goal thing that I like to hear from you as creators of what you're doing with your musical career. And it's like, I like to use this as an opportunity to just speak to the universe, kind of like a manifestation kind of thing. We've talked about it a bit with the band, but on a personal level, like, what is it with music that you would like to do that you haven't yet, that thing that like keeps you up at night or whatever, that dream that you may have, And it could be small. It could be like, I just want to get a recording done. Or it could be like, I've really always wanted to play this venue. Or it could be like, I've always wanted to play this country. Or you know what I mean? It's like that kind of thing. So we'll start over. Eamon?
Yeah.
We'll start over here again. And then
Sure.
so what is it like, what's that dream that you've had? Or if you have one, and if you don't, you don't.
I guess really just to get better
Yeah.
at playing guitar. I don't think I'm like the most proficient technical player.
Sure.
So,
and what's your process? Like, how do you, like, for me, I'm not much of a sit in my room and play person. Need to play in the band setting. I need to be like feeling like I'm being productive, quote unquote, with it rather than just practicing and by myself in a way.
Yeah. I mean, as I've been in this band for like, whatever, it's been like a year and a half, 2 years. I think I've gotten a lot better. In different ways, but when I sit in my room and just like practice and like do scales and shit, like then I get better way faster.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's true, right?
But,
isn't that true?
So yeah,
cool.
I don't know. I just want to be able to shred. So
well, there you go. I love that. Just want to be able to shred.
Yeah.
So we're naming your next song.
Just want to, yeah. It's like,
shred.
yeah. Sweet. Avtar?
I guess like my goal is really just to be able to have a life where I'm around people that are creative and that I feel like push me, or that I push them, or just I appreciate them. I want to be able to tour with bands that I appreciate and see art that I care about, really love, and just be in that world.
Yeah.
Whatever that ends up meaning.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're getting there?
I spend a lot of time on music. I spend a lot of time with a lot of bands that I really appreciate in town. So
yeah,
I'm getting there.
You're getting there.
Yeah, trying to immerse myself a little more.
Take it outside of the town a little more, like.
Well, yeah, but also not even just from like playing music perspective. I just want to like be inside music more. I guess.
Yeah. What do you feel like is preventing you from doing that?
I don't know. I guess just time. Just finding the place to be and the time to be, the place you belong.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as you think sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I for me, it's like the responsibility is the big thing. It's like that makes it difficult to devote everything to one thing, because it's like I need to actually not devote everything to one thing. I need to divert and stuff, but
do some adulting.
I guess. I don't know what that adulting means. I don't know what that is. I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. Cool. Aeon?
I guess my biggest goal is to just, share my music in front of a lot of people, or just have my music hit people's ears and at least influence them in a positive way, or help them to feel emotions that they might have a hard time feeling or realizing. It could be like anger or sadness, or maybe bring them out of like into a happier place, or inspire them to do music, I think. So that's like, I guess, my biggest goal with this.
It's like spread art, like expose people to art, expose people to emotion, help them kind of use art as a way to like bring out stuff. Because
I don't know how people listen to music now, but when I was a kid, I just like constantly repeated like albums and certain songs I loved that like made me tear up, or like in the car you're blasting, like I think you guys are like gonna like Last Note, because I'll blast that if I'm like on my way somewhere, like I gotta be there, and it just like gets me pumped. Like, not to like toot my own horn on that, but there is a lot of music that will bring out different emotions, and that's just what my goal, because
is to create
that for me.
Cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate that about kind of trying to affect people or bring out a certain emotion, whatever that is, just because I always feel like there's a huge difference between making music or being in a band or whatever that's copying, like has like, I want to sound like this a certain way. I'm trying to emulate the things I care about, and bands that you can tell are much more like inwardly driven, So the idea that, you want to share how you feel with people, not pretend you're someone else, basically.
Cool.
So then they can be themselves
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Is there anything
That's
else?
important.
Is there anything else about Quiet that you want to mention that we haven't?
No.
I
I don't know.
I don't know. We've
Go to shows.
We've been a
Go to
band
shows.
for, well, right. I've been in here for like a year, and then it's been around for a year before that,
Yeah.
before I got
Technically,
here. And right when I came in, I was like, are we ready to play shows? Because Wandering King had like these shows booked.
Oh
Yeah, we
yeah.
just took them over and did 'em. 6 weeks later,
the
we're just like,
ground.
"Yep, go.
Yeah.
Good.
First show was at Barboza, and then our EP was at Barboza. So it's
Yeah, it was
pretty
nice.
special.
Cool. Cool. Kind of a not quite full circle, but
Yeah.
connecting thing. Well, cool. Well, I think we got it. I think we did a pretty good job. I want to thank Chris Esty for motivating me to contact you guys. It was eventually going to
Yay.
happen anyway.
ST.
I just
He's
didn't.
the best.
I didn't know when, and
The
he was
bestie.
like, I'm working with these guys. Get them on your podcast. I was like, well, I like those guys, so I'll get them on my podcast.
God, we went over there like a couple weeks ago and
Yeah.
finished like half a handle of
Whiskey.
whiskey.
Yeah.
Just bam. Hours
Yeah.
later, we're like, what time is it? What are we talking
Yeah.
about?
We were
It's
there
great.
for a few hours, just like music and geeking out,
Yeah.
and you just
Down rabbit
go.
holes and back out.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing we didn't talk about, which we can save for next time, is just the success or whatever you felt around using a PR agency to help you promote this
Yeah.
thing. So we'll leave that as a cliffhanger
Okay.
for next time,
To be continued.
because I forgot and we're done.
Meh.
So
We're
It's fine.
done. Bye, everybody.
But we got to
Thanks
do.
for talking with us.
Yeah,
Thanks,
no
man.
problem. Well, we got to put one more song in. So which one you want to do?
Let's do Lunacy, because Walk Into the Night is a lyric from Lunacy.
It's true.
Lunacy. All right.
That was the first song I ever wrote when I was like the day or the week that I was like, I'm going to start a band. And I went and wrote Lunacy. So that was like the template.
cool. And you guys recorded with Jason Shavy.
Yeah.
Again.
I know this guy again.
Yeah.
It was our single
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
a few
yeah.
months ago there too.
I used to
great.
love how he records my vocals too. So I went and recorded somewhere else before. I won't say where, but I didn't really
Yeah.
like him that much.
Mhm.
I mean, not the person, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
The
gotcha.
result.
The result.
Yeah. No, I did Jason. I used to be in a band called Sunshine Junkies, and they played with us a lot in his band. Long
Long's
Stride.
try.
Yeah, because we were like that kind of not jam band, but you know, like
Dancey, yeah.
just kind of like frat boyish stuff. I don't know if Jason probably
You
would
should
hate me
get
saying
him
that.
on here.
Yeah, I do. I need to reconnect with him and talk to him. But
Yeah,
he
he's
recorded
great.
us,
We worked with him and
He
he just seems to get it. Like
Yeah.
I'll talk to him and he's super fast at everything. And
Yeah,
then
that's what I was
I'll
gonna
kind of
say.
look at him and be like, you know what we should do? And like as I'm starting to open my mouth, he's like, got it.
yeah,
Like 25 seconds later, he's flipped a bunch of knobs, done a thing. He's like that. I'm like, yep, that's what I was gonna say.
yeah,
Perfect.
Cool.
Let's
Cool.
move on.
Well, it's awesome. Like that's the topic that comes up a lot on the podcast, is like finding somebody that work on your music that you can trust, and that's hard.
It's important.
And it's important, and it
Yeah.
can be hard. It can be difficult because you expect the expectation, especially when you're paying, is like you should be able to trust the person, but you don't really know until you work with them, and
Yeah.
and then you're like, oh well, I spent
I spent $1 million
to
on
learn something that whatever. But yeah, no, I get it. So we're gonna leave it with
Lunacy.
Lunacy
Yeah.
off Quiet's Walk Into the Night. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Looking forward to round
Thanks for
2.
hanging
Looking
out.
forward to
Talk soon.
We have a couple of cliffhangers. We have to find out how your adventures went. We have to find out how you felt about PR agencies and stuff, and whether
Yeah.
you feel it works or not. And we'll do that next time. So
Sweet.
again, Lunacy, Walking in the Night, Quiet, and remember to party at the Moon Tower.
Always.
You act like you don't even know me. I don't know why I even care. I've been alone for years. I'll never shed a tear. I'm trapped in my own sanity. I
All right, we did it. We made it to the end of another version of Word on the Street. Thanks so much for joining us, me, once again. You're awesome. I love you. So if you want to continue this journey of the podcast, the best way to do it, really, well, A, is to come back next week and listen to next week's, and then go back in the archives and listen to all the ones you haven't heard yet. But otherwise, another great way to continue this journey is to go to YouTube. As I mentioned at the top of this podcast, I'm so bullish on YouTube. I actually do some stuff on YouTube myself. And it's youtube.com/thezimvideo. I produce a video journal about my musical and artistic journey every week. And the podcast is something I do weekly, so it's a very much important part of that conversation. Oftentimes I'll do behind the scenes kind of stuff. I'll maybe make a correction, or I'll mention something more about the podcast on my video journal, but I also talk more about music I've been listening to, what music I'm creating personally, because as you know, hopefully you know, I don't really use this podcast as a platform to push my music on you, and I'm very bullish on not doing that to you. I want to leave this as a pure space for the other people in the community to have a chance to use it as a platform to share their music. And then if you're interested in what I have, my music, what I make, what I create, then you can go research that, but it's up to you to do it. I'm not going to be like, here's my music, listen. So anyways, so you can check it out. I talk about it YouTube. I talk about other places too, what's been going on in my musical journey. So check it out. Once again, it's youtube.com/thezimvideo. I hope to hear from you. Go to facebook.com/Word on the Street podcast and comment on the post of this podcast. I'd love to hear your thoughts, what you have to say about it. If you enjoyed the conversation, if you think I'm crazy about my ideas for how to get your career moving forward, I don't know, all that good stuff. I love to hear from you. So let's do it. Facebook. That's where to do it. All right, thanks. Catch up with you again when I do. Peace.